Yeah, but the only time I really do, honestly, anything for my kids is when they
No, no,
get the, you can't do that because you're not 18 yet. And then I go to bat for them.
no, no, no,
But
no, 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 no.
my kid, that,
Misunderstanding of the word doing stuff for them. Hence, like my
well, I
like the,
take it as a literal because, like,
so did my
okay,
mom.
going back
So
to
did my
Ethan,
mom.
for example, he can't do anything for himself
I'm very aware, but
because they have been babying him for 9 years.
and
So he
hence,
can't,
that's where
he,
you get the problem with David. But that's where you get the problem with David. Because David doesn't want to hear, well, Daddy didn't do this and Daddy didn't do that from his ex-wife, right?
yeah.
Okay, so hence the point. He has to understand, this is what he doesn't understand. If y'all break up for any reason, guess what he goes back to? He goes back to dealing with that. The whole implication is he has to understand that he cannot do that. And you will not, what? Like you said, you will not really deal with it not because of, you don't like him or anything else like that, it's just the way he's behaving. So to change that behavior, doing what you're doing would not be the best bet. Not for him.
Yeah.
Because trust me, the only way I got him to change his behavior with me is he had to suffer. He had to suffer the hard way.
Well, unfortunately, the implications of him not doing what he's supposed to for Ethan are going to be that he is not going to be able to get the custody that he wants because she is going to throw that back in his
And he
face
has to learn that.
in court.
But he has to learn that. You cannot. I've tried to. I can express this a million different ways to a million different people, and it doesn't seem to sink in. I've tried to express this to him. According to him, that it would have never happened to blah 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 blah. Well, now he has a divorce. Now there's his best friend is fucking his woman, and everything else like that. And lo and behold, he welcomed to my ballpark. 'Cause that's what happened with me. Hence, he understands. And if you don't believe me, I can get Andrew on the phone. And it just wasn't
No, I
Andrew.
believe you. I believe you. I believe you, and I see all of it, and I am doing.
But from
I don't want to see him lose the opportunity to get 50-50 custody of Ethan.
if you
And
cannot
see it
you
coming
I
down the line.
I understand that. But what you can see that others cannot doesn't always mean they will accept the cannonball in front of their face until it is splattered all across the motherfucking side of the wall.
Yeah.
And guess what you're gonna have to do? Let the cannon hit. Why? Because it's gonna have to take his head off for him to understand it just took his head off. Hence, you can try to help him avoid as much as possible, but ultimately it will be his fault, not yours. Hence, he cannot come
Well,
and blame you.
that's like he wanted, we talked about going to the beach and talked about going to the lake and talked about getting the boat. And I flat out said, I want a boat. Don't get me wrong. I want to get a boat so bad I can fucking taste it. I would live on that creek. However, I will not go into a purchase of a boat with him until I know that Ethan can swim. And I had to flat out lay it out to him that riptides, undertows, currents, black water, gators, they're
Water
all a
moccasins,
concern
small
that
sharks.
can and will take out your child. And he's like, well, we can go to the beach
I'll
and
take
I
out the
said,
big toe.
what do you do if a riptide gets a hold of him? Well, going after him. I said, obviously you have not watched the news ever in the state of Florida in the summer. Every year, some dad son drown because son got tied up in a riptide and the
Does he
dad
even
went
know
in
what a rip?
after him.
But does he even know what a riptide is?
I don't know. Then I told him, I said, look it up. And he goes, oh, I don't know if I want to now. And it's like, if you don't, these are
That's like looking up,
these
not looking up a volcano.
These are the scenarios that play through my head, and that's why I say things like, if you want to go to a swimming pool where it's clear water, I have no objection to that. We can see if your son sinks, but I don't want to go to black water. I don't want to go where there's currents. I don't want to go where there's riptides and undertows, because by the time we find your child, he's not with us anymore. And I don't ever want to have to say I was right about that, but I I see it, and
Let
I
me ask
can't.
you. Let me ask you a question. What kind of parents have to teach their kids how to read at 9 years old?
Well, he knows how to read.
No,
I
no, 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 no,
pushed
no, no,
the.
no, 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 no.
Uh,
What is reading?
it is being able to put letters together to form a word and understand what they mean.
The comprehension of the word, yes, and the
Yes.
comprehension of the word in the sentence, correct? That is reading, yes.
Yeah, the only reason he's doing the reading thing is because I pushed that.
Yes, but that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so in essence, if his kid fails for any reason,
He
okay,
said it would be on Michelle, and I said, no, sir.
no,
It will be on Michelle if you do everything you can to help him succeed, and he still
yes,
fails because she's
yes,
not doing her part. But if you're
yes,
not doing your part, then it is on both of you.
yes. That's what he's not understanding. What I'm
And I
trying to
made
get him to understand.
I actually Googled summer slide on my phone and handed it to him and made him read it, because I kept mentioning the phrase and it was like he didn't understand what it meant. And even when I tried to explain it, it wasn't until I made him read it and see that it is an actual thing that he understood, that
Mm-hmm.
children lose academic progress over the summer and can actually go further back than where they left off at the end of the school year.
Yes.
And that is why he is making Ethan read now.
Well, yeah, but also that it's also how do you stimulate them while they're not at school?
What's stimulation? He doesn't care as long as they can play a video game.
That's the whole thing. I don't look at video games as a video game. I look at it as a stimulation. I look at it as working my mind. Okay,
But
I
it's
look at it
not, they're
as
not working their mind. Ethan
that's
isn't reading any of the instructions. He's not working towards the progress. He's going, Dad, can I have everything that you had? And David is giving it to him.
that's the problem. Okay, so in essence, for David to learn,
Now you have a 9-year-old that is struggling to read at a fourth
ah,
grade level, and he's going into or he's in fourth grade. You have a 9-year-old who can't tie his shoes. You have a 9-year-old
what?
who can't ride his
Hold on,
bike. You
hold
have
on,
a
hold on, hold on,
9-year-old.
hold on. He cannot tie his shoes.
No,
Like
he
the
can't tie his
hold on,
shoes.
hold on,
The
hold
only
on,
reason
hold
he
on, hold
owns
on, hold
shoes
on,
with
hold on,
laces
hold
is
on,
because
hold on.
I
In the
made him
ways of my
tie 'em.
grandmother, you cannot tie shoes. You can tie shoelaces.
Okay, he cannot tie his shoelaces. He didn't have shoes with laces until I forced David to buy him shoes with laces, and
What did
he
he
cannot
use?
tie them.
What did he use? Velcro?
No, he
Oh
wore
god.
Crocs everywhere
Oh
to
god, he's one of
school.
them. He's one of
And
them.
I said, when you hit junior high, you can't wear Crocs. Yes, I can. They won't let you participate in PE because they're not athletic shoes. Well, I'll be fine. They'll let me. So the rule applies to everybody else but you,
So
because
yes.
the rules have always applied to everybody else except him, because
So
it's
you
always been just give him.
hold on. So do you hear yourself? Do you
Yes, I'm
see?
frustrated with it.
No, frustrated is not your word. Okay? So, instead of getting like this, your best aspect is it is not your child. He may be your boyfriend or whatever. You know, you can love him for whatever, but the point is to help with your aggravation with the sense of how he's dealing with his kid, because it's not your kid. All you can do
Okay,
is help.
it's not my kid. However, there are plans in place at some point in the future, which we've actually kind of set a point, give or take. It's not like we have a hard date on it, but a point has been set for us to cohabitate. In which case, that child, whether he's biologically mine, legally mine, or not, for the time that he is in David's custody, is my problem,
Technically, no.
because he will be in my house.
Technically, no. The reason why that is because one implication comes up that a lot of people don't think about, and it's the same thing that happened with my mom's ex-boyfriends. You ain't my dad, I got one, and that motherfucker's an asshole, and you seem to be too.
Yes, except if he goes hungry in my house, I'm guilty
No,
of
no, no,
child
no, no,
neglect.
no, 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 no. Actually, you're not. The
In the
reason
state of
why...
Florida, I am.
No, 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 no. The reason why you're not, and the reason why you can fight this very easily, even in Florida, okay, is because is for anything that would happen in the regards of that child, her mother would come down on who? You. Why? Because she's trying to interfere with the relationship because she doesn't want it to work out for whatever reasons she has in her fucking head. Alright, so to avoid a situation and to avoid a conflict of interest and to hence conflict of interest, your interest should only lie with him until that boy says and deems otherwise. And cannot tell it to you, he has to tell it to his own parents. That includes David and his own mother. Why? Because therefore she cannot use him or anything that has gone on within the vicinity of the home, you be there or not, in any way, fashion, or form to implicate you in a way of what? Neglect or abuse or anything else.
Yeah, that's not how it works in the eyes of the law. I realize that morally and
It's not morally.
ethically,
Actually,
you're
it does.
standing
The reason why it
Because
does is because under the Child Protection Act, either regardless of the way you slice it, you are not his parent.
no, but you don't have to be a parent now. That's what mandatory reporting is all about.
If
If I
mandatory,
allow
hold
him to
on.
go hungry,
If
if I
mandatory
allow him to go
reporting
hungry,
was required, then how
it is
come
required in the
half
state
of
of
the
Florida.
population of management in the regards of Florida is not locked up?
Because they haven't been reported. But mandatory reporting in the state of Florida is a legality. It is a legal thing.
Okay, then
It
in the
absolutely
hold
can
on,
get
hold on,
you
hold on. Then in regards of reporting, why aren't you doing it with him?
because I'm stopping it.
No, you're not.
I am. Hey, don't
No,
you
no,
think
no,
you
no,
need to
no, no,
feed
no,
your
no,
child
no,
and then he
no, no,
feeds
no, no.
him?
Listen, listen, listen. This is what you're not understanding. Okay? I didn't know it was your job to take care of someone else's kid.
It is in the state of Florida.
Since when?
If they're in your presence
Hold on,
and you
hold on, hold on, hold
witness,
on, hold on. So you're telling me, just so I make this clear, okay, that the person at the school was with your child and is in the presence of, therefore they have to report, correct?
yes, that's why DCF has been called
Hold
on
on,
me several times.
hold on. Okay. You in turn told them that they didn't have the right to search your child.
That's not exactly how that went. But yes,
In a nutshell, that's how it went, yes?
I told them they could not put hands on my child.
In
If they
essence, they
told me
cannot
they wanted
search.
to wand him, if they told me they wanted to wand him, they could have wanded him, first off. And second off,
That's
the
not searching.
reason behind that was because the event that triggered their want to search happened the previous school day. If they had acted on it during that school day, my objection would not have been there. However, you don't get to allow an act that you know happened and it was reported on Monday to not be dealt with and then on Tuesday decide to search the child. That was my objection. If you
So,
thought it was such a huge deal, why was my child not called into the office on the day it happened and was reported and then searched? I would have had no objection to that. However, at the point that you let him go home and you did not handle it with the severity of the nature you are claiming it to be, because having a vape on you is at the same level as sexual assault according to the Clay County School District. At the point that you allowed that to go on and you allowed him to leave your premises, you no longer get to search him.
so let me ask you this, okay? Based upon that analogy, alright, let me ask you this, okay? Then why would you take into consideration the thought, the anger, and the know-how, alright, that anything that you will be doing can turn against you at the